eye on Jackson County, and it's Randy Chlapecka. And you see him here in this magazine, and this magazine is devoted to honor some of those people that have done great things in Newport, Arkansas. Ben, let's show our main man, Randy Chlapecka. And Randy C., good to see you, my friend, and welcome to this program.
Glad to be here.
When Ben Black, and I decided that we wanted to do something for you, we thought what better than to sit down and visit with you and talk about your great run that you've had here in Newport, Arkansas, and Jackson County Extension Agent for 26 years, retiring.
Retired.
Yeah. Already retired. Greyhound football broadcaster for 19 years. Retired. But I guess you're looking forward to what the future holds for you, my friend. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, David. Glad to be here. Glad you're doing this, and just really honored to be part of it.
Let's talk a little bit about, first of all, we have several segments we're going to come up. We're going to talk about farming, the extension agent. We're going to talk, obviously, about Greyhound football. But one of the segments that we wanted to talk about are maybe some things that you didn't know about Randy Chlapecka. He does a great job for all the farmers, does a great job being a community service representative at the school for Greyhound football, obviously doing great volunteer work. Let's talk a little bit about Randy Chlapecka and where it all got started many years ago down near Slovak, Arkansas.
Yeah, it goes back 55 plus years. I was actually born in Stuttgart. Didn't have a hospital at Slovak,
right,
obviously. So born at Stuttgart Memorial Hospital, and grew up in the Slovak community, which is basically halfway between Hazen and Stuttgart. So, my dad farmed, grew up on a farm. As I've told many people, you could stand in my yard and literally throw a baseball in any direction and hit either a rice or a soybean field. And you don't have to have a strong arm either. I mean, it's that close. So, that's kind of where I grew up. Grew up just a basic farm life, helping dad on the farm, and just learning a lot of stuff like that, working on other neighbors' farms as well, So basically it was just a basic, rural farm life for the first 18 years of my life, I guess you might say. Grew up there. I went to school at Hazen. We were halfway between Hazen and Stuttgart. Our school district was Hazen. So went to school at Hazen all 12 years. Back then you didn't have kindergarten, Kindergarten wasn't,
right.
There was, private kindergartens. But so went 1 through 12 at Hazen. I graduated from school there and went on to ASU and from there. So that's kind of how I started.
Well, and talk a little bit about quickly from ASU, just how you got from ASU into what you were doing and how you got to Newport, Arkansas.
Well, majored in agriculture at ASU, got a bachelor's in 81, master's in 82, and when you're about to get out of school, you don't know for sure what you're going to do, so you start applying anywhere you can. So, I put applications in a lot of different places, and the first one that called, actually I had a little summer job after graduation. I worked for a chemical company. It was actually a little internship. It wasn't going to be turn into something permanent, but it did kind of get my foot in the door in some agriculture-related things. So I scouted rice fields across eastern Arkansas for diseases in July of '82. And then, again, I had all those applications in, and the Extension Service called in August of '82. Wanted me to come to Little Rock for an interview. So I came to Little Rock for an interview, and it wasn't a week later, after that my district director or boss called and wanted me to go to Pocahontas or Randolph County. So, Mom and Dad wasn't too crazy about that, running off that far, said, well, you need maybe to look at some jobs closer to home. But, I knew that was the first opportunity, and I headed to Randolph County, started there on September 1st of 1982, and, kind of 32 years later, I'm retiring.
Yeah, and Pocahontas is obviously near and dear to yours and your family's heart, really.
Right.
Tell us the connection with Pocahontas.
Well, obviously, not obviously to everybody, I guess, but I met Paula there.
Right.
Her dad had a convenience store there, and she worked at the bank at Pocahontas, and also, on the side, she worked at her dad's convenience store, and I used to go in that convenience store, and finally one day there was a concert coming up at Jonesboro, and I got up the nerve to ask her out, and the rest is history, I guess you might say. So that's why the Pocahontas is so near to me.
I know in our broadcasting of games, and I've often said that the greatest call that you ever had, and we have it displayed back here, go down, Quarmain, go down, and this is a plaque that we presented to you. We'll talk more about that when we get to the football section. But you always liked to win that Pocahontas game when the Greyhounds played. In your broadcasting voice, it was a little bit more intense than it normally was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you love them to death, but when you play them on the field, you want to beat them that much worse. So, yeah, those games always meant a lot. And, you know, the couple, I guess, that we lost, I don't know how many we lost, but I remember one we got beat pretty good here at Newport. But the ones we lost hurt pretty bad, but the ones that we won were really special, especially that playoff game.
You meet Paula there, and then tell us the transition of being there and getting to Newport, Arkansas.
Well, it happened real quick. You know, Paula and I got married. We started dating in '86, got married March 19th of '88. And that's really about the time my boss, the same boss that hired me, called me, and there was an opening here in Jackson County. And he said, at first it was only open for people with previous staff chair experience, but I did not have.
Right.
They didn't get who they wanted, so they opened it up to everybody. And he called me and said, "You need to apply for that. That county would fit you just perfectly." And because, you know, it's mainly a rice and soybean area, and that's what my strength is rice and soybean production. So I reluctantly applied, you know, talked to Paul about it and finally applied, and I got it. So, you know, again, got married March 19th, started the job here on June 15th. So, you know,
wow.
3 months or so, I was starting to work here. We actually commuted for about 6 weeks or so. We didn't move here, I think, till August 2nd of 1988, so commuted a little bit in between there, but it was a very quick transition.
I know you can't speak for Paula, but what was it kind of like for her to have to leave Pocahontas?
Well, you know, she'd grown up and lived her whole life there.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think she kind of, you know, as we came to Newport, I think she kind of liked it, and I think she was pretty comfortable with it, to be honest with you.
Talk a little bit about getting here and having some children. You have 2 at one time, and raising some boys. Talk about the boys a little bit.
Well, you know, Austin and Justin were born on August the 17th of 1990, so we'd been here about a couple of years, and they were born. Actually, were born at Memphis. You know, they were about 6 weeks premature.
Right.
Paula, you know, they were twins, and they were about 6 weeks premature. So we went to Jonesboro, and they suggested that we go on down to Memphis to the med, because I think the main reason was some of the pediatricians were on leave or something like that. So they suggested to be careful and safe, we'll go down to the med and have them. So they were actually born in Memphis on August 17th of 1990. And, you know, brought them home. They had to stay there a little while and brought them home probably a week or so later. So, yeah, they were born then, and, you know, went to school here, obviously, in Newport for all 13 years, because kindergarten was mandatory by then.
That's right.
So, you know, they went to school 13 years, loved it here, got a great base education here, I think, and both did great here in school. You know, we're active in a lot of things, quiz bowl, a lot of things. Of course, Austin in football and Justin in baseball. Now, early on they played about everything, but later on they kind of specialized in their own sports, as they found out what they really liked to participate in. So they did well here academically. Had great ACT scores, got good scholarships. Both went to ASU. Both have bachelor's degrees from ASU. Austin has a master's degree from ASU. Justin is working on a master's at ASU. Austin is now teaching at Brooklyn. He taught at Mark Tree and coached the first year out of college. This year he's teaching at Brooklyn, teaching history and government classes. He's also coaching the Quiz Bowl team, which he loves, because he was very active in Quiz Bowl here. So he's doing that, and they're doing great. Justin is working on a master's in agriculture. He got his bachelor's in chemistry.
Wow.
You know, it's quite a difference.
I can spell it.
Yeah. But, you know, he did great in that. But, you know, his thing is he wants to be outdoors doing something. So he's been trying to find his niche, and I think maybe agriculture is going to be it. So he's working on a master's in agriculture right now. He actually has a fellowship from the Arkansas Soybean Promotion Board, and some of you may have seen him. He's been doing a commercial for the Soybean Promotion Board, or one person on that commercial recently, so he's been on that. So he's kind of narrowing in on agriculture right now. They're both doing great. Austin is married. His wife is Catherine. She works for the Crimes Against Children portion of the Arkansas State Police as an investigator. She started that recently, so she's doing well, and everybody's doing good over at Jonesboro.
Yeah, that's great, and watching those kids grow up here and being Greyhounds, and there's nothing like it. And, you know, when you broadcasting, you got a kid down there playing them. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And here's what I want to ask you. I mean, tell me a little bit about what is important as far as hobbies go for Randy Chlapecka.
Well,
what are your interests?
As you know from all the athletics and stuff I've been involved with, that's really my main thing. You know, I've obviously been doing all these things for Greyhound football, all the PA and TV broadcasting and all that, and just being a fan when I can. I'm a huge ASU fan, as you
Sure.
well know. I'm 100% into ASU sports and really love that. Go to a lot of ball games for them. You know, as far as anything else, not a lot of really big hobbies. I mean, I like the vegetable garden and stuff like that. As you know, I walk pretty religiously.
Sure.
I'm a regular walker, and it makes me feel good. Love doing that. You know, I'll hunt a little bit. You know, if Justin wants me to go hunting with him or something like that, I'll occasionally do that. I'm not a big hunter or fisherman, but I'll go occasionally to do those things. But really, the sports is the big thing.
Well, and you and I have spent 19 years in the broadcast booth, and we've had a tremendous run. And you spent 26 years talking with farmers, and we're going to get into that segment here in just a little bit. But the farmers tell me, I said, give me one word that describes Randy Chlapecka. And most of them, all the great adjectives, but the one thing that really struck me was caring. Randy cares. He cares about my farm. He cares about what happens with my crop. And I think it's a it's a wonderful thing. An adjective say, if somebody cares about me, I think it's pretty strong, and it tells a lot about the character and how well you were raised as a child. And it's pretty exciting when we talk about those things of caring.
You know, I hadn't heard that before, but it kind of goes back to something I've been thinking about in preparation for this interview, something that one of my former bosses, we were at a district conference in Jonesboro back in the 90s, and he was, all the county agents from this Northeast district were there, and he was talking about us and how we need to properly do our job. And he just kept saying, I remember he must have said 10 times in his talk, he said, show them you care.
Absolutely.
And he said, if you'll do that, if you'll show them you care, you'll be successful in this job. So it's really interesting because I hadn't heard you say that, and it's kind of really ties together there. And maybe that's why I've been successful, I guess.
I guarantee you have. Successful in a lot of walks of life. And we're visiting with Randy Chlapecka, the retired Jackson County Extension Agent, retired from Cable 15 television broadcasting. I want to hit on the media here before we get away and get to the farming segment. Tell us a little bit about your involvement in the media since day one that you got here. You've done a lot of stuff in a lot of different media.
Well, of course, that all goes back to the job, the agriculture, our job. We're called the Extension Service because we extend information to the public. Well, one of the best ways to extend information is through the media, obviously. Sure. So, I've done pretty much programs through all the media. I've done a newspaper column here with the Newport Independent for forever. I guess sometimes back in the early 90s, probably I started that. I'm not sure. I've done a radio program pretty much forever. I think since I moved here, I started that probably the week after I got here. I started because they'd already had that going. So I've done radio programs regularly. At one time, I was doing one every day, and that kind of got difficult to come up with a topic every day. But later on, did one a week, so I've done that. Obviously, when y'all started the Breakfast Bunch here on Cable 15, I started doing that, doing regular programs here. So I've done programs in all three of those media outlets regularly.
Yeah, regularly and on time. And you and I were talking just a little bit ago, for the first time in a long, long time, that you weren't on the current Business Spotlight program, but we were, prepping for this particular program, and we hope you folks are enjoying the program. But I'm visiting with Randy Chlapecka, and we're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this. Hope you're enjoying our program. Our special salute to Randy Chlapecka, our annual farm harvest show with concentration on the great job that Randy has done for us and all of you in the community. We want to acknowledge some sponsors, if you will allow me to do so, please. Some of the great folks making our broadcast possible include Farmers Elevator and Warehouse in downtown Newport. The Davis and Bledsoe families for years have been there serving farmers with your particular needs and the services that they provide. They take this opportunity to salute Randy Chlapecka and all area farmers for another great harvest. It's late harvest. We know it in December, and we were still working hard for you, and we'll always try to be there for you at Farmers Elevator and Warehouse in downtown Newport. Folks over at Farm Bureau, Brian Smith and all of his crew on the local side, and of course Jackson County Farm Bureau. There's not a better advocate for farmers anywhere than the folks at Farm Bureau. Whether you're looking for insurance, whether you're looking for somebody to stand up for you in the legislative sessions, whether you're looking for great bargains and discounts by being a member of Farm Bureau, they offer good things there on North Harwood Street here in Newport at Farm Bureau and Jackson County Farm Bureau.
Also, want to mention Helena Chemical Company, Randy Cooper and his crew at Helena Chemical Company. You know, Randy was talking the other day to me about, boy, there's times at the year when the fall especially, we are so busy. And we appreciate all of our farmers, and we appreciate the great job that Randy has done for everybody. And we want you to know that we enjoy being busy, and we salute farmers on another outstanding year here in Jackson County. Some of the other folks making our telecast and broadcast possible include Farmers Electric. We are there with the power when you need us. The light switch is on. On behalf of all of our many employees, we thank all our area farmers, and a special salute to Randy C. for his great work. From all of us, we're at Farmers Electric, where you can walk in the front door and talk to the boss when you need to. NEDC, downtown Newport, continuing to work to bring jobs to Newport. You know, you heard perhaps on the Business Spotlight, John and David talking about an additional possible 160 new jobs that could be coming to Jackson County just from existing businesses and industries. That is a great amount of new revenue and new jobs, and great work by the folks who are involved in that project, including help from NEDC. They continue to work for all of us. They're located at the Business Center in downtown Newport. White River Beverage is your distributor for Coors and Miller products, and they do a great job. And Buddy and all the crew out there wish the very best to all area farmers. We appreciate those of you who have enjoyed our products for years, and we advise you to use those products responsibly and be a good person and know what to do when you need to do it. White River Beverage, we've been out there for some time, and we appreciate all of our vendors and folks that do business with us. And thanks to Randy C. and all of you folks out there in the farming community. We're very, very proud of you at White River Beverage out near the Newport Air Base, not Air Base, at the George Kell Park, the Newport Park. There's a lot going on at the Air Base too, but that's one of the things. Also, let me mention Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services. They have financing for your rural lifestyle, homes, farms, acreage. Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services has the financing for what you need. If you're looking to purchase farm real estate, a home, maybe it's vehicles or equipment, or you need some capital for your operating expenses, we finance it all, and we share our profits through our patronage program. Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services has distributed almost $22 million in patronage refunds to our customers and customer owners since 2006. That's a good piece of change, folks, if I say so myself. For expertise, friendly loan officers, competitive rates, and a financing package that's really tailor-made to your specific individual needs, contact Todd Hewlett or Kathy Buford, and their phone number is 870-523-5867. Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services is an equal housing lender. Some of the other great folks making our broadcast possible, George Kell Motor Company. If it's good enough for the Duck Dynasty boys, it's good enough for me, and ought to be good enough for all of us. They're there with great products and a lot of inventory and great service, and already breaking ground on their new facility out on the interstate. George Kell Motor Company, Highway 367 North. Young's Irrigation is your TNL irrigation headquarters for Northeast Arkansas. They're located right there in Tuckerman. The Young family, former Farm Family of the Year in Jackson County, they continue to do great work and have served farmers with those irrigation systems for years now. If you don't have one, talk to them about getting an irrigation system before the next hot summer gets here at Young's Irrigation in Tuckerman. Also want to thank folks over at Harris Hospital. Harris Hospital is undergoing some changes. We think they're going to be very positive changes with new ownership, new upgrades, new services as White County Hospital now at Searcy takes over ownership of Harris Hospital. The folks at Harris Hospital that continue to serve you are very proud of the work that they do and looking forward to a continued relationship in the future. Congratulations to all our farmers and Randy C. from all of us at Harris Hospital. Also, Iberia Bank. Billy Keating and crew at Iberia Bank. You need a loan? Talk to us. You want to save some money? We've got savings accounts. We offer CDs. We have ways to make your money grow and help you a little bit and do it safely and wisely at Iberia Bank. Billy Keating and crew at Iberia Bank. Local folks, Billy and crew, taking care of you. Greenway, go green, go John Deere. Greenway Equipment Company. We have it for farmers. Always have, always will at Greenway Equipment Company. And I want to mention my good buddies, the shoemates down at Weldon Flying Service. If you can do it with an airplane and it's involved in agriculture, these guys can do it and do it at a fair rate, a good price. They'll take care of you. Local guys, they've been around, they know what they're doing, they appreciate farmers. They're farmers themselves. The shoemate guys, anytime you need something done, Mr. Farmer, that involves an airplane, whatever application, consider Weldon Flying Service. They're the pros that'll take care of you. We mentioned before on a couple of programs about I own Jackson County. You know, Kimberly and Joseph, who worked, Kimberly especially here for many years with us here at Cable 15 TV, have started a local publication, I Own Jackson County. We like the way it looks. We like the stories that they have in there. We hope that you will pick up a copy of I Own Jackson County. It is good for the community. It's good for them, and I think you will enjoy reading it. I Own Jackson County, a monthly edition. Look for it at locations throughout the area. Also, Arkansas Steel Associates. They continue to provide many, many jobs to folks here in Jackson County, and we appreciate all the work that they do, and they appreciate all the work of Randy C. and all the farmers throughout the area. And finally, my nephew Ben Black at Ben's Used Cars. Don't forget about Ben's Lawn Care and Power Washing Service. He does that too. He's a busy young man, and isn't it good to see young people who are busy and are involved in 2 or 3 different things and not afraid to get out there and work and hustle. It's coming up car season. A lot of you will be getting tax refunds. Ben doesn't keep a lot of cars, but let him know what you're looking for, because he does go to the sales and he does have inventory. It just doesn't stay very long because he doesn't try to make a whole lot of money on a car deal. So please consider Ben's Used Cars and call him at 512-8429. That's 512-8429. We appreciate all our great sponsors for being with us and making the programs possible. Could not do it without their help, and certainly hope that you will patronize them. Let's get back to more of our special programming. Now, first, a big salute to David and Ben, who put the program together. They've done a lot of work, and as their special salute to Randy C. and all of the years that he's worked with us here at TV station and with David on the television football broadcast. Great job, guys. Let's get back to our program for Randy C.
Joins us at the Newport Resource Center downtown Newport on the day that we honor Randy Chlapecka from the Farm Bureau Federation and all those folks in Jackson County that came to visit today. It was a great day for Randy Chlapecka. Tell us a little bit about what this guy's meant to our community.
It's hard to fit into a small snippet. It's amazing. Just for my family, the time he spent in the field with us, inspecting it from weed damage or weed control, pest control. He's gone with us for yield competitions. He's walked the fields. He's made sure that we follow the rules to the T. And not only on the agriculture side, but when I was in high school when I would get up on Saturday morning, I'd go watch the film, and you and yourself and Mr. Randy I would listen to the play-by-play and watch that. And I mean, I don't remember having a time without Randy in the community, and he's been a staple in my life and my family's life for years and years.
And no doubt about that, Derek. Just quickly here, this guy volunteers for lots of things, especially when it comes to sports. He's always there, just like he's always been for you guys. And you take a guy like that, comes into Newport, Arkansas, virtually lives a lifetime here. A guy from Slovak, Arkansas, Randy Chlapecka. I mean, this guy has been super for all of us, there's no doubt.
Absolutely, and his time, his service, everyone in the community has been involved with him in some way or another, especially on the agriculture side. FFA, 4-H, the school. His wife has served as the Newport School District for years and years, substitute teaching and doing countless other things. It's just been a great asset to have in this campus.
Derek, I appreciate it. What a beautiful Sunday afternoon that we get to honor Randy Chlapecka. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
With my good friend Randy Chlapecka. And before we get started on the extension service segment, or the farming segment, I want to mention some folks. Sam Nicholson at Sam Nicholson Farms, and Joe Harden at Harden Farms, Mickey Doyle Farms, Scott Mears, and Trey Hare Custom Spraying. Those are some of the guys that I visited with. They talked about the carrying that we mentioned in the program or in the segment in this program prior to this one. I want to talk a little bit about being an extension agent. First of all, tell us a little bit about what are some of the qualifications that it takes. You're talking about going to college and knowing what you wanted to do, obviously, as a young age. But what are some of the qualifications that you have to be an extension agent in the state of Arkansas?
Well, the basic things, obviously, you've got to have a degree in agriculture. Right. Bachelors have to have a bachelor's. Master's is preferred in some agriculture field. Some kind of experience, whether it be farm experience, like, I've got farm experience. I work for a chemical company. Working for some ag-related industry, is the thing. In the Extension Service course, just a little brief background, we are part of the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture, and it's not just agriculture. I mean, we do 4-H work. I have to do 4-H work, do community development work, and also we have the Family and Consumer Sciences program, which I don't, really are not active in that part of it. But I do have to do, I do 4-H and community development as well, or did for the past 32 years. So really, it's more than just agriculture, but agriculture consumes a lot of my time most of the time. Yeah.
All right, a farmer calls you, whether they call you on your cell phone or your work phone, and obviously, I guess years ago when you first got started, we probably didn't have cell phones.
No, when I started, they had to call you at the office.
Or call you at home.
Yeah, and that was called you at home a lot,
yes,
and that
sir.
just really took care of a lot of the home calls and everything. So yeah, it's mainly cell calls now, or was.
Farmer calls you, just generally speaking. What's he ask you? Give me some of the scenarios that a farmer would call and say, Randy, I've got this and I need your help. Yeah. What do they call for?
Well, I mean, it could be anything. A lot of it's just routine stuff. How much, like, for example, a certain variety of rice, how much fertilizer do I need or nitrogen do I need to apply for that? What's the what proper rate of a chemical to use per acre, things like that. And then you get into some of the problem calls. They might call, well, my rice is turning yellow. Okay. Will you come out there and look at it and see what it is? So, if I can answer a question over the phone, obviously I'll do it that way, but I'm always ready to go to the field, if I needed to, because, sometimes you just had to go to the field and see it.
Right.
If you didn't see it, you didn't know what to do. So, you go to the field and you try to figure out, well, is it fertility, is it disease, it's insect, whatever it might be. The great thing with the Extension Service, we have a great background of specialists in our state office, in Little Rock and in some other locations as well. And if we don't know, we can always call them and get some advice from them. They can come to the field as well if needed. So there's a great network with the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture and Extension Service. So, I'll look at the crop and hopefully can answer it myself. But if I need to, I can call in some other people. And we just try to find out what's wrong. And then after that, obviously, once you find out what's wrong, what do you do?
Absolutely.
So, you got to kind of make a recommendation on what to do. And then, a lot of times you'll try to follow up and see if that worked and see if, if that really was the problem. Because sometimes it's not cut and dried. I mean, sometimes you're just guessing. You got to make an educated guess on what it might be, and then a lot of times you'll follow up and see if it did work to help you in the future.
Well, I think, and I do compare that to a doctor, because a doctor practices medicine, and you're actually practicing medicine, and sometimes you're just trying to give an educated guess, as you say, to let's try this to see if this works because we don't know for sure. And I think it's a great responsibility, and that's another thing that our farmers talked about, the great responsibility, number one, that they have, but number two, that you have for them and you helping those guys. It's a tremendous responsibility. How'd you feel about the responsibility end of it?
Well, the thing about it, as you were saying that, one of the big things is that you know how much money is involved in agriculture, how much money it costs. You know, if you make a recommendation, it's not going to cost you $50 to do it. It's going to cost you a lot of times thousands of dollars to implement that recommendation, especially if it's over a large acreage. So, yeah, you feel a lot of responsibility when you're telling somebody he needs to spend thousands of dollars, you know, to help this situation or to help produce a crop. You know, you feel that you want that to work, and you want him to make make at least that much money back from doing that. So that's a huge responsibility when you're talking about that kind of money.
Yeah, literally thousands.
Yeah.
Could be. And in a man's operation, in his whole operation, it's millions of dollars.
Right, millions.
Absolutely, $1 million.
Yeah.
And it might depend on a decision that somebody came out and helped them
Yeah,
make.
that somebody's not their money. Yeah.
That's right. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah, go spend that money. Yeah.
Sometimes I know recommendations, as you say, that may not work. If you have a scenario where you try something, next step, try something different, obviously.
Well, yeah, maybe try something different. If you think of something else that it could be, you know, usually the first one's going to work most of the time, but if it's not, you just got to try to go to step two. And, you know, a lot of times over time, maybe the crop will straighten out a little bit itself, you know, something that you really don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money on. But, yeah, you just have to go to step two. And like I say, usually you don't have to do that, but, you know, there's been times that you've got to go to step two.
Well, I know we did not talk about this prior to, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but if you know an answer, we'll talk about one. Say, for example, that a farmer calls you and you don't know for sure, and you go back and you go through all your network and whether internet, phone calls, so on and so forth. Ever been any situations where you just really, really, really couldn't find an answer?
There's probably been a few times that you really couldn't find the exact answer. You always had some speculation, you know, you always had something you could tell them, but a lot of times you just tell them you just don't know. But usually when I told them I don't know, I usually felt pretty confident that it was something that was not going to be that, you know, harmful in the long run. Right. You know, sometimes there's something wrong with the crop, but it looks like it's growing out of it or whatever, and you tell them just buy a little time, and I think it's going to come out of it, and usually it has. So yeah, that's kind of the story there.
We did a lot of programs down on Bubba Sink's farms, and he was always gracious enough to let us to come out there and film. And I mean, he's one of the big farmers here that's a tremendous supporter of Randy Chlapecka and Keith Cannard Farms and Gus Graham Farms and Tommy Young, who has sponsored your program on Cable 15 TV for many, many years. And not to single anybody out, but I know that guy right there, he speaks highly of you. Talk a little bit about Tommy.
Well, Tommy's just probably the most organized person I've ever been around in my life, to be honest with you. Tommy does a great job. Obviously, they're very diversified in what they do, you know, with the irrigation and the trailers and just different things that they do besides the farming operation. But Tommy is just amazing. I mean, he's so involved in so many agricultural related things. You know, he gets involved on the state level, the national level, the international level.
Right.
And you've got to have those people. You've got to have some farmers going to bat for you on those levels. I mean, you know, you've got to have somebody advocating for agriculture, and Tommy does a great job of that. I mean, he just does a tremendous job. And again, the organization is just phenomenal. I mean, you know, everything is really organized to a T, and that's what I remember so much about Tommy.
Tell us a little bit about, we were in the courthouse for a long, long time,
right.
And then we got to move actually out to what I call the station. You're right at the station.
Right.
And tell me about the advantages of being out there where you're right there by everything that you guys are experimenting with.
Right, to be around the research. Again, that was, we moved in 2007, so we're there close to 8 years in my career. And, you know, we've got researchers, again, doing research out there, so you know, when they've got stuff going on, I can actually just go out there to the plot. Actually, I have a four-wheeler there at the office, so I can just ride my four-wheeler back there and kind of, you know, check on what's going on with the research and kind of, you know, get some ideas that help me with advising farmers on what to do. So it's just great being out there. And also another thing is those researchers, I can call on them when they're up at the station doing looking at their plots and everything. I can kind of corner them and say, well, this farmer up the road's got a problem. Will you go up there with me? And a lot of times they will. And so it's just been great to be right there you kind of feel like you're out in the field on the farm, and it's just really, to be honest with you, it's almost a stress reliever being out there. So.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about stress. I was going to in that job, and we talked about those, the big dollars that the farmers have invested in and needing some decisions from somebody that, of course, that's your job to have the expertise. But how much stress is there? I mean, overall, I never noticed any with you. I've never noticed you to be stressful about anything unless the Greyhounds were behind.
Well,
but in the extension service job, talk a little bit about stress.
Yeah, there's quite a bit there, and and again, a lot of it's just because of the big dollars that you're making recommendations on, and again, there's some things you're not really comfortable with. I'm pretty comfortable with rice and soybeans, corn, wheat, those major crops. So I feel pretty comfortable with those things, and even though there is a lot of money involved, I feel usually pretty confident in my recommendations and things like that. But some of the crops and other enterprises, I'm not a real strong livestock guy. And, some of those things that you know a little less about, and you want to find an answer for those people just like everybody else. I want to treat everybody the same. So, sometimes you're a little more stressful when you don't know a lot about that subject. That's probably the big thing for me is when I know less about a subject and you're trying to find an answer for them. So I think that's the big thing that has brought on maybe some stress with the job with me.
Personnel that have worked with you, and not to put you on the spot, and you don't have to name everybody, but I know that not very many changes in your 26 years as far as the staff goes. I mean, you've had a pretty good staff that helped you along the way. Just talk about staff in general and specific if you like.
Been pretty stable, and of course, one of the big things is with the clerical, secretarial type positions. Right. I'm one of the few agents probably that's worked 32 years, and I've never worked with a secretary with less than, I think, probably 5 years of experience. I've never had to hire a new secretary. That really brings a lot of continuity to the office when you've got that situation. So I've been very fortunate, to have secretaries with a lot of experience and know what they're doing, and they can really make the office go really smoothly. So that's a big thing right there. Of course, we've had some agriculture agents throughout the years, and for the last several years, I've operated on myself because of some funding issues. But before that, we had Eric Grant is still a real good friend of mine. He's about to retire in Chlapecka County, to be honest with you, in January. So Eric and I became pretty close friends. Had several others throughout the years: Gus Wilson, Mark Keaton, Sherry Sanders. Had several agriculture agents, and I'm still close to all those. So we developed great relationships with them. Family and consumer science used to be called home economists.
Absolutely.
You know all about that. So family and consumer science agents. Martha May was here when I started, and I have had several over the years, and of course worked with Sarah Metzger for the last few years, and Sarah's been great to work with, and we still talk a lot, still live on the same street, and so there's been a lot of good people that developed good relationships with, and certainly still keep in touch with them, and they really helped me do my job a lot better. Yeah.
Well, we talk about all the great things in a job that make a job worth getting up in the morning for and doing for all of your life and spending your life and retiring. Let me just ask you this. Anything that you look back on and you go, man alive, I didn't like that particular deal, or that didn't work, or anything you disliked about your job?
Well, I mean, some of the administrative stuff, and it's getting to where, liability and things like that are getting to be such a big issue, all about that. I mean, it's just some of those kind of things, being with the people, all those things are wonderful, but some of the different responsibilities you have on the administrative level, like I talked about, some of the liability and accountability are the two big things, accountability and liability, really. I mean, you've got to do so many things, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure you're doing every little thing right, doing background checks on potential employees, all that kind of stuff. Even, volunteer leaders in 4-H have to go through a lot of background checks. Right. And, all that kind of paperwork that you've got to do, that's always the toughest part of the job. I mean, it's an important part of it. You've got to do it. But, I'd rather be out in the field or just out with the people in the community more than doing those things. And that's the part that I like to lead.
Yeah, the paperwork and the red tape and government regulations and sometimes you wonder, is there too much government regulation in anything that we do? But when you got a government job,
you got to do it. I was right there in the middle of it. You had to do it. But boy, sometimes you just wonder, why do I have to keep doing all these things? Because a lot of times it keeps you from doing what you think is your real job.
Would you have done anything different?
Probably not really. I mean, I think it's been good. I mean, I wish I would have been a little more active in working with the 4-Hers. I mean, I love working with the youth through the sports and everything, but I wish I probably would have been more active in the 4-H program. But you've only got so much time. I mean, the agriculture part is more than full time, to be honest with you. But I wish I could have spent some more time, or would have spent some more time with our 4-H program and working with some of these youth. And that's probably the big thing. Also in agriculture, maybe there's some big projects I would like to have done at times that really just never panned out because you've got a lot of little things that you got to keep doing. I mean, to me, the most important thing we do is answering those phone calls, and they keep coming, and you got these big plans, but then the real world sets in, and you've got people calling all the time, and you can't get some of those things done. So those are some of the things that maybe I wish would have gone differently.
My tag team partner is Randy Chlapecka, and we're honoring him and saluting him for his many years of service to the Newport area and Jackson County as far as his job goes, as far as his hobby goes with supporting the Newport Greyhound athletics and all the athletic fields within the county, as a matter of fact. But we're going to talk a little Greyhound football in our next segment coming up, and that's what's dear to my heart. Not that farming's not, because I certainly love farming, but
you love to eat.
I love to eat. 19 years, my partner in the booth doing Greyhound football, and we're going to talk about that next. Continuing on with our program and saluting and honoring Randy Chlapecka, retired Jackson County Extension agent, retired Cable 15 television broadcaster, retired public address announcer, you just retired, hadn't you, sir?
Well, for most of it. I'm not closing the door on everything, but yeah, pretty much so.
Randy, see, we've moved over to what John Watson has so graciously named legendary Greyhound Field. A little bit different this year than what we've had because of the beautiful upgrade. Talk a little bit about the upgrade of the facility.
Right. So great to be able to do, probably my last year of all this PA and everything from this field. I mean, the new turf has just been outstanding. The new stands, outstanding. To me, the flagpoles are one of the most special things. I mean, some people might consider that a little small part of it. That's great. The as I call them, the shot clocks, the play clocks, and still a lot more to go. I think there's a lot more things in the future, hopefully some visitor stands and new concession stand and parking and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, great upgrade and great to be part of it this year.
Well, let me ask you this. You've been doing it a long time, and tell us how you got started, how you got involved in doing all this stuff that you've been doing for the last 20-something years.
Well, as we've often said, or we've talked before, God's plan's a lot better than anything we could ever come up with. And a lot of little steps, to get this going. I mean, it just didn't happen. It all started with me moving to Newport, obviously. And as we talked in an earlier segment, my boss kind of had strongly encouraged me to apply for this job here in Jackson County. So without that, obviously it doesn't happen. The next thing is when we moved here, the previous county agent was Kent Rory, and he lived next door to Richie Mathis. Well, Kent's house was for sale. We liked the house, so we bought Kent's house and moved next door to Richie Mathis. And as I told you a while ago, if I don't move next door to Richie Mathis, none of this probably ever happens. I mean, because Richie obviously was an assistant football coach and track coach here, and the first thing he got me to do, I guess, we moved in '88, and either '89 or '90, he started asking me to time track meets.
Okay.
So that's the first thing I did involved with Greyhound Sports was timing track meets over at Rimmel Park. Did that as long as they had track meets here, basically. So that kind of got me in the door to working with Greyhound Sports. I guess the next thing, and I think Richie had something to do with this too, was in 1992. I guess it was after the second game of the season, Coach Keedy called me. It was on a Sunday afternoon. Coach Keedy called me, and Pill Steven, I think was the guy's name, who had kept stats with John Miner forever. Yeah. And he wasn't going to be able to do it anymore, so Coach Keedy was looking for some help for John Miner to keep stats. Yeah. Well, I gladly accepted and kept him up in the old buzzard's roost on the visitor side up there with John. We had some great moments up there, too many to talk about. But anyway, that's kind of got me started in the football part of it, and really have still been involved with stats all throughout the rest of my career. Shane Hutchinson has taken over keeping the play-by-play, stats throughout the game, but I still compile them, get them to the coaches on Saturday morning, that kind of thing. Paul has also helped keep the tackle chart for several years while Coach Brandon was here, so still been involved with the stats. So, that was 1992, and then the next step, I guess, was 1996 when you called and wanted to know if I'd be willing to help with the broadcast, and you didn't even say what you wanted me to do. You just wanted to help. I didn't know if I was going to be talking or what I was going to be doing, but anyway, it didn't matter. I just wanted to be part of it, and that's kind of how the broadcasting got started. Those steps really in order there, and they all had to fit together.
Well, you've done a bunch of public address announcing, obviously not on Friday night because you've always been in the booth with me, but the Pee Wee games, the junior high games, even the B games when we used to have B games, and 7th and 8th grade games. Tell us a little bit about doing the PA.
Well, the PA started in 2000 with actually when the Newport Pee Wee program was resurrected in 2000. And I think it was probably Randy McNeil that asked me to do PA. I'm not sure. I think it was Randy that asked me to do PA. So, I'd never done PA. All I just went on was what I'd heard other PA guys say.
Sure.
That's what you go by when you do something like that. So I kind of did take off on what I'd heard other guys do. So I started doing Pee Wee PA in 2000, did that all the way to 2014. Next year, 2001, I think it was Coach Watley that called me. They were looking for a junior high PA guy. So, started that in 2001 and done that, ever since then. Sure. The next thing, 2003, Coach Jim Simmons was coaching basketball here, and we hadn't had a PA guy, I don't think, before for basketball, but Coach Simmons wanted a PA guy, and I think he talked to you and Bud, and y'all suggested me, I think, in 2003, and I've done that since then. Then the last step, I guess, was 2011. Coach Mark Hinesley called me, and they were wanting somebody to do PA for baseball. So I've done PA for baseball for 4 years. So that's kind of the progression as far as PA, and now basically I've been doing PA for all sports except for softball. You can't do baseball and softball all together, and John Watson's been doing that. But of course, John Watson has done the senior high games in the past. But anyway, that's kind of how it all got started.
Could you have ever imagined when you got started that it would come to everything that you have done? I mean, did you? Because it's huge what you do.
I never had any idea that it would lead to all this. I mean, I thought Pee Wee would be the end of the PA part of it, and just one thing led to another, and I love doing it so much, that I just love doing all of it. Never would have thought it would have ever amounted to anything like this.
All right. We've been together for a long time. Most everybody knows 19 years in the booth together. And even prior to us getting together and being broadcasters together, you've got some great memories of what you remember about, a storied football history here in Newport. For many, many, many years prior to us. Even many years prior to me playing here. Talk about some of those great memories that you have. I know you made a presentation to the Booster Club several months ago, and I thought it was just outstanding. But talk about some of those great moments that you had.
Of course, these are moments throughout my time here, which obviously started in 1980. And as you said, there were a lot of great moments before that. But my top 5 that I gave that day, and I probably already need to make a revision for that. But the top 5, my number 5 was we had a couple of must-game wins to get in the playoffs, and I mentioned a couple of those were great memories for me. 2000, the Batesville game, we won 26-22. Remember, it came down to the last play. I remember Lamar Esslinger breaking up a pass at the goal line, and right at the goal line, and that kind of got us into playoffs that year. The next time was 2006, the Lone Oak game, and we had to win that game, and Lone Oak was supposed to be pretty good, and I thought that was going to be a tough battle. Unfortunately, we came out and really played well. And apparently, Lone Oak was a little bit flat, and we won that game 47-0. I think we mercy ruled them at about halftime, 41-0. So that was number 5 on my list. Number 4, and I debated on whether to put losses in there or not. But I've heard people say that some of the heartbreaking losses make the wins, some of the great wins feel that much better. So I thought, man, I'll put those in there too. We've had some tremendous heartbreakers in playoffs. Watson Chapel in 1994. And, right here, we outgained them all over the place. The stats weren't, when you keep stats, you just see those stats, and it's unreal how one-sided those stats were in favor of Newport.
Almost 500 for us, a little over 100 for them.
Yeah.
We lose the game.
Yeah, we lost the game.
35?
Unbelievable, 38-35. Another one was Atkins in 2003. We went up there and outplayed them all over the field. Had a couple of ineligible receiver downfield calls. We had the Fred Brown fumble that may or may not have been a fumble. Thought the ground caused that, and just a couple of plays there that, again, we just dominated that football game totally. And then Another one was in 2008. This was the year Austin was a senior. We went down to Dollarway and lost 24-23 in overtime. If we would have won that game, we'd have been playing for a state championship. And, I was already dreaming about that trip to Little Rock during the week, which is, to get to go down there one day and practice. Right. I was so excited about that, more than a championship game. And then, there's a couple of controversies in that game too, but they beat us in overtime 24-23 with a 2-point conversion. Really a heartbreaking game there. So that was number 4 on the list. Number 3, all the state championship games, the Dollarway games in 88 and 89 that I was at, both of them. One of them was a 7-3 heartbreaker, and the other one was a little more one-sided, so I've got those in there. And then 1991, listening to you and Bud, I remember telling everybody my whole family was sick that day. I mean, we were all just as sick as we could be, so couldn't go to the game. I remember where I was laying on the living room floor with the radio by my ear, listening to you guys, and I'll never forget you saying, when in doubt, give the ball to Bubba. That's one of my great memories there. So, and then we gave it to Bubba, and he went for a touchdown.
Yeah, we're talking about Bubba Phillips, the great all-state running back.
And won that game 7-0, which I was unfortunately not there, but really enjoyed listening to that broadcast. Then my top 2 were individual games. The 1995 Malvern game, which was just an incredible football game down there. We ended up winning that game 28-21. I guess we were down 14 twice, I think.
That's correct.
Came back in the second half with just a tremendously exciting football game there. And then number 1, we talked earlier about Pocahontas and the ties there. And, you love them, but you want to beat them that much worse. And we went down there in 2006. I guess our first game of the year, they'd beaten us pretty good here at Greyhound Field. Then we got to the playoffs and went up there and after a big Dollarway victory and beat them 36-32. I think we were down like 29-14 at halftime and come back and won that game 36-32. A very exciting game with a lot of plays that still stick in my mind, just tremendous plays in that game. So those were my top 5. And, I did this, I think, the week of the Stuttgart game, and we came back, and Coach Harrison said on his post-game, interview after the Stuttgart game, he said, Randy C needs to add 1 game to that. And that was the Stuttgart comeback where we were down 21-0 and came back and won 22-21. So I guess I'll add that one in there.
Well, and the Stuttgart game, realistically looking back on that, the excitement of winning the game, because you weren't going to win the game at halftime.
Right.
You weren't going to win the game. And then with 10 minutes to go in the game, you were going to win the game. Right. I mean, we all did it in the third quarter, and it wasn't a dramatic finish at the end or anything like that. But overall, when you look back on that game and you just kind of scratch your head. I mean, we weren't jubilant at the end, but we were kind of like, how did that happen?
Yeah, unbelievable.
21-0 down and had no chance to win the game, and we won the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just a better football team. We kind of stunk it up in the first half and had a couple things go against us. But, we showed we were the better football team in the second half. Absolutely.
Couple of things here. Let me ask you this, Randy C. And boy, I mean, you and I have been together, and I'd ask you about, whether or not want to mention us dropping the television set from the top of the stands. We've had some good. I had it was $50 TV. They're $5 TV.
Yeah,
now.
That's why I thought $5.
Yeah, $5 TV, and it didn't make it. Made it to the bottom of it made it to the floor, didn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember where we were at. That was on the road somewhere, and I remember, it wasn't strapped down real well. I think I'd been the one trying to strap it on there, and I didn't strap it good, and it just fell, and my heart sunk when it went down there until you told me how much it was worth.
$5 TV.
Yeah, so
couldn't get another one. Nobody had them.
Yeah,
outdated.
So I felt a little better after I knew it was a $5 TV.
We're talking with Randy Chlapecka and at legendary Greyhound Field, and it's just been a great honor to have been in that broadcast booth with him for 19 years. And let me ask you this, and this is something maybe I should have asked you before we got on here, but I think you can handle this one. Why was getting involved important to you?
Well,
why, from a sports standpoint, Greyhounds, why was that important to you?
Well, I just grew up loving sports like a lot of kids. Grew up loving sports, and I wasn't, obviously, anybody knows I'm not athletic, and I certainly wasn't athletic when I was in school, so I mean, I had to have some other outlet, maybe to be involved in sports, I guess you might say, because I never was really an athlete or anything like that, but I loved the game. So I was, always looking for some way to be involved. Of course, been a fan everywhere I was at, whatever school it was, even Pocahontas before I moved here. So, always a fan of sports and just the opportunity to get involved in any way. I mean, whether it's time in track meets or keeping stats or whatever, anything I could do to be involved with it, it was just a true honor, and just really enjoyed doing it. So I jumped at any opportunity I ever got.
What do you think you missed the most about it?
Oh, it's be the people. I mean, we hear that all the time, the relationships. It's, and of course, we'll start with the kids. the athletes you get to know during the time. And, one of the great things, if you're out in public, if you're at a restaurant or, wherever, retail store, wherever you might be, and you see one of those kids that you've called one of their games or announced their name at any point, and they remember you and you remember them and you start talking, it's an incredible feeling, that.
Yes,
I mean, we're all part of that. It's not just the athletes, all the support groups, cheerleaders, whippets, band, choir, JROTC. I mean, I've had the honor of introducing all, parts of all those groups and, just getting to know all these people, the coaches throughout the years, ever since Richie Mathis, and Bill Keedy. I mean, all through the years, can't name all of those obviously, but I mean, just the fans, I mean, just getting to know all these people and kind of being one family. And, I love road games probably as much as home games, to be honest with you, because that's when you really get that together.
Come get as a group.
Yeah,
your fan
absolutely.
base.
So I've always really loved road games. I mean, I like doing games here and proud of this field, but those road games are always really special because you come together as a unit.
Absolutely, yeah. It's us against the
everyone.
world,
Yeah,
everybody else. I mean,
yeah.
nobody down there cheering.
Right.
At that town, whether it
Yeah.
be Stuttgart or Lone Oak or CAC or wherever
Yeah.
the case may be, and lots of great football games that we have called. And again, we appreciate it, and we're going to continue on with more of our show. We'll be back momentarily. We're gonna end it right here at Greyhound Field. We'll be back right after this.
Hope you're enjoying our program. Our special salute to Randy Chlapecka, our annual farm harvest show with concentration on the great job that Randy has done for us and all of you in the community. We want to acknowledge some sponsors, if you will allow me to do so, please. Some of the great folks making our broadcast possible include Farmers Elevator and Warehouse in downtown Newport. The Davis and Bledsoe families for years have been there serving farmers with your particular needs and the services that they provide. They take this opportunity to salute Randy Chlapecka and all area farmers for another great harvest. It's late harvest. We know it in December, and we were still working hard for you, and we'll always try to be there for you at Farmers Elevator and Warehouse in downtown Newport. Folks over at Farm Bureau, Brian Smith and all of his crew on the local side, and of course Jackson County Farm Bureau. There's not a better advocate for farmers anywhere than the folks at Farm Bureau. Whether you're looking for insurance, whether you're looking for somebody to stand up for you in the legislative sessions, whether you're looking for great bargains and discounts by being a member of Farm Bureau, they offer good things there on North Harwood Street here in Newport at Farm Bureau and Jackson County Farm Bureau. Also want to mention Helena Chemical Company, Randy Cooper and his crew at Helena Chemical Company. Randy was talking the other day to me about, boy, there's times at the year when the fall especially, when we are so busy, and we appreciate all of our farmers, and we appreciate the great job that Randy has done for everybody, and we want you to know that we enjoy being busy, and we salute farmers on another outstanding year here in Jackson County. Some of the other folks making our telecast and broadcast possible include Farmers Electric. We are there with the power when you need us. The light switch is on. On behalf of all of our many employees, we thank all our area farmers, and a special salute to Randy C. for his great work. From all of us, we're at Farmers Electric, where you can walk in the front door and talk to the boss when you need to. NEDC, downtown Newport, continuing to work to bring jobs to Newport. You heard perhaps on the Business Spotlight, John and David talking about an additional possible 160 new jobs that could be coming to Jackson County just from existing businesses and industries. That is a great amount of new revenue and new jobs, and great work by the folks who are involved in that project, including help from NEDC. They continue to work for all of us. They're located at the Business Center in downtown Newport. White River Beverage is your distributor for Coors and Miller products, and they do a great job, and Buddy and all the crew out there wish the very best to all the area farmers. We appreciate those of you who have enjoyed our products for years, and we advise you to use those products responsibly and be a good person and know what to do when you need to do it. White River Beverage, we've been out there for some time, and we appreciate all of our vendors and folks that do business with us. And thanks to Randy C. and all of you folks out there in the farming community. We're very, very proud of you at White River Beverage out near the Newport Air Base, not Air Base, at the George Kell Park, the Newport Park. There's a lot going on at the Air Base too, but that's one of the things. Also, let me mention Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services. They have financing for your rural lifestyle, homes, farms, acreage. Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services has the financing for what you need. If you're looking to purchase farm real estate, a home, maybe it's vehicles or equipment, or you need some capital for your operating expenses, we finance it all, and we share our profits through our patronage program. Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services has distributed almost $22 million in patronage refunds to our customers and customer owners since 2006. That's a good piece of change, folks, if I say so myself. For expertise, friendly loan officers, competitive rates, and a financing package that's really tailor-made to your specific individual needs, contact Todd Hewlett or Kathy Buford, and their phone number is 870-523-5867. Ag Heritage Farm Credit Services is an equal housing lender. Some of the other great folks are making our broadcast possible. George Kell Motor Company. If it's good enough for the Duck Dynasty boys, it's good enough for me. It ought to be good enough for all of us. They're there with great products and a lot of inventory and great service, and already breaking ground on their new facility out on the interstate. George Kell Motor Company, Highway 367 North. Young's Irrigation is your TNL irrigation headquarters for Northeast Arkansas. They're located right there in Tuckerman. The Young family, former Farm Family of the Year in Jackson County, they continue to do great work and have served farmers with those irrigation systems for years now. If you don't have one, talk to them about getting an irrigation system before the next hot summer gets here at Young's Irrigation in Tuckerman. Also want to thank folks over at Harris Hospital. Harris Hospital is undergoing some changes. We think they're going to be very positive changes with new ownership, new upgrades, new services as White County Hospital now at Searcy takes over ownership of Harris Hospital. The folks at Harris Hospital that continue to serve you are very proud of the work that they do and looking forward to a continued relationship in the future. Congratulations to all our farmers and Randy C. from all of us at Harris Hospital. Also, Iberia Bank. Billy Keating and crew at Iberia Bank. You need a loan? Talk to us. You want to save some money? We've got savings accounts. We offer CDs. We have ways to make your money grow and help you a little bit and do it safely and wisely at Iberia Bank. Billy Keating and crew at Iberia Bank. Local folks, Billy and crew, taking care of you. Greenway, go green, go John Deere. Greenway Equipment Company. We have it for farmers. Always have, always will at Greenway Equipment Company. And I want to mention my good buddies, the shoemates down at Weldon Flying Service. If you can do it with an airplane and it's involved in agriculture, these guys can do it and do it at a fair rate, a good price. They'll take care of you. Local guys, they've been around, they know what they're doing, they appreciate farmers. They're farmers themselves. The shoemate guys, anytime you need something done, Mr. Farmer, that involves an airplane, whatever application, consider Weldon Flying Service. They're the pros that'll take care of you. We mentioned before on a couple of programs about I own Jackson County. You know, Kimberly and Joseph, who worked, Kimberly especially here for many years with us here at Cable 15 TV, have started a local publication, I Own Jackson County. We like the way it looks. We like the stories that they have in there. We hope that you will pick up a copy of I Own Jackson County. It is good for the community. It's good for them, and I think you will enjoy reading it. I Own Jackson County, a monthly edition. Look for it at locations throughout the area. Also, Arkansas Steel Associates. They continue to provide many, many jobs to folks here in Jackson County, and we appreciate all the work that they do, and they appreciate all the work of Randy C. and all the farmers throughout the area. And finally, my nephew Ben Blackett, Ben's Used Cars. Don't forget about Ben's Lawn Care and Power Washing Service. He does that too. He's a busy young man. And then it's good to see young people who are busy and are involved in 2 or 3 different things and not afraid to get out there and work and hustle. It's coming up car season. A lot of you will be getting tax refunds. Ben doesn't keep a lot of cars, but let him know what you're looking for because he does go to the sales and he does have inventory. It just doesn't stay very long because he doesn't try to make a whole lot of money on a car deal. So please consider Ben's Used Cars and call him at 512-8429. That's 8429. We appreciate all our great sponsors for being with us and making the programs possible. Could not do it without their help, and certainly hope that you will patronize them. Let's get back to more of our special programming. Now, first, a big salute to David and Ben, who put the program together. They've done a lot of work, and as their special salute to Randy C. and all of the years that he's worked with us here at TV station and with David on the television football broadcast. Great job, guys. Let's get back to our program with Randy C.
Well, welcome back, everybody, in our final segment here to visit with Randy Chlapecka, and it won't be the last time he's on TV with us for sure. He's still doing some programs for us on the Business Spotlight, and we've looked back over a period of 26 years and really a lifetime for you, and looked at your early life and your upbringing, your education, your coming to Newport, Arkansas, and how all that worked out. And here's what I want to share with you. In 1974, when I was a freshman in college, is the first time that I ever got behind the microphone at a Newport Greyhound football game. Now, and I did it for a couple of years, and I didn't do full time all through this time, but that was the first time that I did. So in 40 years of broadcasting, in 40 years, and it was eternity when I mean, that was eternity for me. Half of that time, almost half of that time, I've been with you in that booth. And it doesn't seem like half of eternity that you and I started.
It doesn't seem like that long, but boy, time flies. I'm telling you. We say time flies when you're having fun, and we've had fun.
It does that.
Absolutely.
And we've got a lot of folks that have been thankful to be a part of this program, and had said thank you throughout the course of the program. But you got a few folks you'd like to talk about.
Absolutely. I always want to, thank everybody, starting with my parents, going back my entire life, really, to start with them. The conservative values and everything that they've kind of instilled in me is very, very important for the way I live my life, I think, and I certainly want to thank them. It's been great to be involved with my brother the last 4 years. I'm glad you got him back to filming for us. He's got some background in filming and stuff like that, and really we hadn't seen each other that much over the last 40 years. Before he got out of college, he moved to Texas and lived there about 40 years, and we'd see each other maybe once or twice at the most a year. So now we've got to see each other every week during football season, and that's been great for me. So obviously all the coaches throughout the years been outstanding. I mean, I can't name all of them because I can't remember all of them, but starting with Richie and Coach Keedy, and on throughout the years through Coach Harrison and Coach McCreary and Coach McGuire and Coach Hinesley, and everybody now and all the assistants. I mean, they've been great to work with. It's just great to be have relationships with those guys and be able to talk to them about Greyhound sports and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, got to talk about you and Bud, because y'all got me started announcing, and I'll be forever indebted for you guys for getting me started on that.
You're welcome.
All the supporters of the extension program, all the farmers. Jackson County is such a great place to work with farmers because they are so supportive of everything you do. If you'll care, as you said, and we said before, if you'll care and do your job, they will support you all the way. Our 4-H people, 4-H leaders, and all of those 4-Hers for what they've done to support the program. The county government, we've got to have the support of the county government. They provide part of our funding. So all the county judges and the quorum court members and other county officials throughout the years, thank you for all your support of the extension program, and hopefully that will continue forever. Then a lot of co-workers that I've had throughout the years, and we named a few of them on the early part of the segment, but I hate leaving people out. I just can't stand doing that, so I went back and wrote them all down, the people that I've worked with in this county. We talked about the secretaries. Never been working with a secretary with less than 5 years experience. Wanda Barker and Sharon Dawson have been the secretaries here. Thank them. Other Agra agents I've worked with: Mark Keaton, Eric Grant, Scott Rushing, Sherry Sanders, Lance Blythe, and Gus Wilson. Thanks to all of them, and all of them have moved on to other counties now, but certainly appreciate them. And then the Family and Consumer Science agents, Martha May, Kim Jablonski, Sherry Bennett, Jennifer Green, and now Sarah Metzger. I want to thank all of them. So just thanks to all those people that I've worked with that made our extension program better, all the sports people that made it so much fun, and just the support of the entire county.
Randy Chlapecka, one final word to you, my friend. Thank you. Randy Chlapecka, welcome aboard.
Thanks, David. It's great to be here. I'm excited to be here. I've lived in Newport about 8 years. Love the Greyhounds every minute I've been here, and just excited to be part of this team. And anything we can do to help the kids out, I'm just glad to be a part of.
Say, Randy, a little Greyhound magic.
Right, David, like I said, I moved here in 88 and 89. I remember hearing Coach Keedy talking about the magic of the orange and black. So, and other people talk about the magic of the orange and black, and as I look at it on the field, our colors are still orange and black. Matter of fact, they look a brighter orange than they've been in the past. I think things really look good.
Coach Bill Keppel in his inaugural season.
Love to get the quarterback one time. Kind of shocked they've got two backs in the backfield. There comes some heat. He throws deep. Interception! Go down, quarterback, go down! Go down! Go down! That's, ladies and gentlemen, Corey maintained with a big interception. The Newport Greyhounds in an incredibly improbable last 3 weeks. All we have to do is go to a knee. David Black, this is incredible does not describe it. Incredible does not describe it.
Well, I wanted to end it with my tag team partner, Randy Chlapecka, for the last 19 years, and been in the broadcast booth. And Randy C., overall, let's talk a little bit about the year that we had this year. It's a pretty special year. We won a conference championship in our last year, but talk a little bit about the year.
Well, the conference championship's a big thing, obviously.
Yeah.
Hadn't won one since '07. I think two in this, I guess two in this decade or this century,
Right.
I guess you might say.
Yeah.
So it's big to win one and get that, behind us. But it's been a great season. You hate to always lose it on a game like this. But anyway, unless you win a state championship, you're going to lose that last game, as we always say.
Well, that's what we talked about. Yeah, Don.
Yeah.
Or you won one and you didn't go to the playoffs.
Yeah. We don't want that.
You didn't.
Especially after 28 straight years here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know this. When great things come to an end, and that conference streak's going to come to an end someday.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to drop down AAA, for sure.
Yeah, who knows,
may not. But anyway,
someday it will.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being not just a great Greyhound, but a trooper. And we talked about on the air tonight, that first broadcast that you have. I could feel the enthusiasm. I could hear the enthusiasm in your voice. I know you're excited to be asked to join me in the broadcast booth. 19 years is a long time, through thick and thin, through good and bad, through great games, through not so good games. But it's been a pleasure for me. I'm honored that you've been my tag team partner for a long time.
Well, it's been great to be part of it. I'll never forget when I was asked. I mean, it was a dream come true for me, and never thought it would last 19 years. And it's 224 games tonight.
224.
It's been a long time. I think I figured it up. The Hounds are 142 and 82 during that time frame, so that's pretty good, going to the playoffs every year. So it's been a dream come true, and I'm so appreciative of you and Bud for asking me to be part of that.
Well, I'm appreciative too, sir. And here is a plaque that I got Cheryl Malden to do this for me. Newport Greyhounds, 1996-2014. Let me tell you something. Thanks, Randy C. 19 years. He's going to go score. I've heard you say it 1,000 times. And I put what I consider the most famous quote that you ever said as a Greyhound broadcaster. Go down, Cormaine. Go down. Randy C., on behalf of Cable 15 TV, there's the picture that had Cheryl take of us the other day. I thank you. I love you like a brother. I have been honored, my friend, to share this booth with you for the last 19 years.
Appreciate it, David. Thank you
Randy
very much.
Chlapecka, my tag team partner. Until next time, for Dan Chlapecka, for Shane Hutchinson, for my tag team partner, Randy C., I'm David Black. So long, everybody.
Hi, Randy C. It's a pleasure for us to have you to be honored as part of this program. We just thank you so much for not only what you have done for the community and taking care of farmers for over a quarter of a century, but maybe some folks don't realize that the service you give to our schools and to our athletic programs, and that is so important to the kids because somebody has to step forward and do those type jobs. So thanks for everything on both fronts. We appreciate you working with us for 19 years on Greyhound football and appreciate your 26 years of service serving the community and folks in the farming industry around here.
Hey, Randy C., this is your old buddy, former Greyhound coach Bill Keedy, and you and I have something in common. We both love those Greyhounds, and we've been supporting them for years and years, and we will continue to, even though you're going to be a retired Greyhound man. I'll be seeing you at the games. We're going to be pulling for the Hounds, and they're going to continue to be successful and win championships.
Hi, I'm Sarah Metzger with the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service. This is for you, Randy C. Not only were you a great mentor, you were my friend. Thank you for all of the years here at the Cooperative Extension Service, from me interning with you in college, to you teaching me how to do soil samples, me picking strawberries out in the field. Those were some really good memories. And also we made more memories the last 4 years that I worked with you. I hate that you're gone, but I'm so happy that you're doing something that you love, and hopefully you can do more things that you enjoy. But anyway, we miss you dearly. I hate not to see you here at the office every day, but I do get to see you on my street walking. So anyway, well wishes. I wish you and Paula the best of luck, and thank you for being there as a mentor and a friend.
Let me just say that we're very proud of Randy Chlapecka and all the work that he's done here supporting the athletic program at Newport High School. And on behalf of the school district, we really want to thank you for everything you've done and wish you great time in your retirement, Randy.
Hey, Randy C., this is Coach Black, principal at Newport High School. Just want to say congratulations to you on your retirement. Thank you for the many years of dedication to our kids at Newport High School. Appreciate everything you've done for the community and the school, and hope you enjoy the retirement. Come back and watch those Greyhounds play, buddy.
On behalf of the Newport Greyhound football team and the athletic director and anybody else that has anything to do with Greyhound football, we want to say thank you to Randy C. for all the things you do for us, from the stats every Saturday morning when you brought them and they were topped up, to calling Greyhound games for 19 years. You've been a huge part of the football family and all the tradition that has happened here, and we don't know what we're going to do without you, but we hope you have a great retirement. We hope you enjoy the rest of your days, and we know you'll always be going for the Greyhounds. Thank you.
Mr. Randy, I just want to appreciate you for everything that you've done for our community and especially for our kids. Our football program could not have done it without you. For many Friday nights, you have sat there and cheered on the Hounds, and many times on the Pee Wee football. I appreciate you calling my little boy Chris's name out. You mean a lot to us, and we thank you. And giving us 2 Hounds yourself and going on and being, one of them being a high school football coach, I just want to say thank you so much for what you've done for our kids.
Randy C., thank you for everything that you have done. Appreciate what you've done for our football program. And I also want to tell you how much I appreciate you being there for our baseball program, because you stepped up when you didn't have to, and I want to just say thank you for that. Also, we will miss you, and just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Randy C. We appreciate everything you do for us at Newport.
Thank you, Randy C.
Okay, my name is Amanda Reynolds, and I am president of the Pee Wee Football for 2014, and we just want to tell Randy Chlapecka, thank you for all that you do.
Mr. Randy, thank you for being one awesome neighbor and a devoted Greyhound fan. We know how much Newport means to you and your family. From your wife subbing most of us at Castleberry Elementary to both of your sons graduating from Newport High School, we see you at every single sporting event, and we would like to thank you for your time and dedication to Newport and Newport fans. From the cheerleaders,
thank you, Mr. Randy.